Hi, this is Nancy McClellan with Design Inventions, and I want to bring you a little video today that's going to be using a stencil from the Altenew collection of leaves and berries. And I'm going to do this in a little unconventional colors, which are going to be some greens and some blacks. It's going to follow along with my theme for the Altenew Academy class that I have up today on the Modern Holiday Card Making class. I've done this stencil one other time before using basic holiday colors, which is green and red. So I did it with a much warmer green, and I did these red berries. But thought I'd put a little twist to it today, and we would do something with the greens and the blacks. So I already have my stencil prepped with some pixie spray, and I've attached it to my card base. I'm using some Bristol Smooth today. I usually always put a little bit of tape on there anyway, just to secure it on the edges. I don't tape it down to my glass mat. I like to be able to have that flexibility to move it around. So we're going to be using greens today out of the Greenfields collection from Altenew, and that'll be the frayed leaf, the forest glades, and the evergreen. So I'm going to be using blending brushes for this, and you'll see that the frayed leaf is a very light color. I'm going to just speed this up so you can, watch me put this in there. But I'm just using these blending brushes and getting a little bit of base color down. I'm not being necessarily careful to make sure that I'm not covering those berries. It's perfectly fine. And each layer I'm trying to get a little bit more down into the stem part of the leaves. So as I go ahead and I get the last color of evergreen, you're going to see it's pretty blue. It's got a lot of a blue tone to it. Sorry that I've kind of pulled my paper down out of the total video shot, but I've put that on there. I wiped it off a little bit just to get the blue off. Now I'm going back up and I'm putting more forest glades on some of those areas, and then I will finish off with a little more frayed leaf just on the tip edges. Now I'm going to attack those berries, and that's going to be with jet black. And I've got a tiny little blending brush that I can put all of that black on there. So I'm just moving it around and getting all of those berries. You will see at the end, I'll go back and I'll pick up my larger blending brush that had the green on it, and I'm just going to swipe all the way across all of that stencil. That's just going to pick up a little bit of that black, and then it's going to maybe get into the creases, and I think it's going to add even more dimension. So look at that. It might look like a little bit of olives if you really wanted to take it that way too, but it really has a lot of dimension and was a lot of fun to do. So I'm going to go ahead and get that cut down to size, and we're going to adhere that to a A2 top fold black card base. So I do a lot of top fold cards. That seems to be what I'm doing now, and again using that black base to bring in again that black color for a more modern type of look. So we're going to get that completed. Now I need to put a sentiment on there, and I've chosen a sentiment out of the Holiday Wishes set, and I'm going to stamp that with black permanent ink, and I'm going to use a clear embossing powder on vellum, and I'm just going to cut it out with a circle die. Now I'm going to back that with another white circle so that you can see it a little better. It was disappearing on the background a little bit. So I'm just going to do a little bit of liquid glue around the edge. This is actually a stitched die. And when this dries, you're never going to see that through the vellum. So I'm going to go ahead and just get that on there, and I'm going to lay it up with a stamp block just so it'll kind of set and dry while we're working on the rest of it. Then I have a black circle that we're going to lay this all on top of at the end. Now I need to put these tiny little branches. I thought it needed a little bit of branch, and amazingly in the Rennie Rose set, there's a little branch that kind of reminds me of the branches on this stencil. So I'm going to stamp that. It also has a nice little die. So I'm going to stamp those out on Forest Glades paper, and I'm going to use the evergreen ink. Now you can see I've already got a couple of them on this piece of paper, and a lot of times when I do something like this, I'll do multiples. I usually always use odd numbers in 3s and 5s, but I never know exactly how many. Then I can just put them in the back of the envelope that I keep my stamp and die with, and I can use them anytime I want. Or I can just stick them in a little bowl on my desk and pick them out and use them for cards. So you can see that this stamped out much darker than the other ones, but the other ones have had a time to dry. So this dye ink is going to all just melt back into that paper, and it's going to come out the same color. So I'm going to go ahead and use my mini blossom and cut the 3, make sure I have the 3 that I need, and get them ready to put on the card. So I have those all selected now, so we can put the card together. My sentiment has had an opportunity to dry, so we're just going to put a little bit of tape runner on the back of that and adhere that white circle to the black circle. And this has got just a tiny little edge on there, so it just gives it some definition. Now again, I probably am the pop-dot foam tape queen. I don't do a whole lot of any sentiments without layering those. So I'm going to use my trusty foam tape and add a little bit of dimension behind this sentiment and just attach it to the card base. It's going to be a tad bit, I usually don't put them in the middle, so it's going to be a tad bit below center. And then I can just take my liquid adhesive and tuck all these branches in. So this card was a lot of fun to make. It's fun to take your stencils and use them in different colors. And if you have not already signed up for the Altenew Academy classes that I have offered, please go over to the Altenew Academy and sign up for Modern Holiday Card Making. I finished this off with a little bit of clear Winkostella on all of those little black berries. I thought it was just a little bit of shimmer. You could use stickles or anything of the sparkly glitter if you'd like to put a little more oomph on there. But I just chose the Winkostella because it dries really fast and it just gave me the shimmer that I wanted. So thanks for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed this little bit of inspiration in a non-holiday color.